carving this plate, we'll take out the large chips first. To do that, we'll use some of the skills that I taught you in an earlier lesson, and that is by removing a smaller chip on the inside of the large chip first. So I'll sketch in those smaller chips that we'll take out to begin with. You don't have to be very accurate with these. Doesn't matter if they're perfectly neat. All you're doing is taking out some of this internal pressure of the wood to make it easier to get the depth that's needed to take out these very large chips. You'll see I've already carved half of this plate, so you can see what it looks like as we progress through our carving. I'm running with the grain, so I want to take this with the grain cut here first, followed by the cut around the circle, with the grain, and then I'll take out the chips around the outside of the semicircle. So first comes the with the grain cut. These are sizable chips, so you need quite a bit of depth all the way down. See how deep my blade is into the wood? And then slide your knife out. Next, I'll take the curve cut on the inside and I'll continue that cut all the way around to here. Notice I'm using my standard chip carving knife. I sharpened it up before I began. I'm going to continue the cut all the way around the semicircle. Next is this with the grain cut, picking up where I left off. Finally, I'll turn my plate around and I'll take the semicircle cut all the way around the outside and see if those big chips come out or not. Here's where I go down for my depth. It's hard. Pretty sizable chips. This one came out quite a bit. So I've just got a little bit of cleanup to do here. You can see right down there. And I'll put my knife in right down in the bottom, and it comes out very nicely. This chip up on the top didn't come out quite so well, so I'm going to take this cut right down the ridge first, and that's what it took to pop it out. Okay, so often this cut right down this ridge is where the chip will hang up, especially when they're so large like these chips are. Notice just putting my knife right down that ridge is all that it took to free up the chip. Now I'll take out the remaining large chips on this pattern. There's 4 here and 2 left over here. Again, following that same technique of carving out a smaller chip on the inside and then taking out the full chip itself. These next large chips are going to be more difficult than these because I've got across the grain cuts going in both directions. So take your time and I'm sure you'll get it. All right, those large chips have been removed. Next, we'll move into this section in here. It looks like this when it's done. We've got back-to-back chips, 4 on each side, and we'll take them out in this order. We'll start here with the first chip, then I'll take this one, and this one, and then repeat that on the opposite side. For this first chip, I'm going to take this cut on this side of the line first. Okay, we've got space in here that we're not going to carve, but I need to be very careful down in here because I've got just a small area in which that I'm going to remove a little bit of chip down here. So I'm not going to go very deep. Start way down here. Make sure I follow the right line coming up. It's a second line to the inside. And I'll come right to there. Turn my board. Take this cut right down the line, plunge it down in to get my depth. And then I'll remove the chip. Just got a little bit of cleanup right down in the bottom. Right there. On the second chip, my first cut is going to be this inside curve. Reason being, this is the grain on my board. If I leave that chip, that cut, until my last cut, when I get to here, it's going to want to run with the grain. So I'm going to make it my first cut instead. I'll start way up here, very shallow. Get more depth through here, and I'll stop right there. Now my next cut will be away from the previous chip that I just took out. Okay, that didn't come out. Most likely, it's my cross grain cut right here, right along the ridge. And that's what it took to remove that chip. A little bit of cleanup right there. My third chip, I want to carve away from my previous chip on the first cut, which is right directly along the last cut I just made. I want to stay right on top of the ridge so that I get nice, crisp edges like you see over here. I'm looking ahead of my knife so I get a nice straight cut down this line. Okay, and the fourth chip, here's my first cut. My second cut. Again, I'm trying to look ahead of my knife and get a nice straight cut along that ridge. Draw it out, it's not very deep. And also, there's no need for me to go way down here. I'm going to stop short right up in here. It helps preserve these ridges down and below there if I don't go down quite so far. Okay, that didn't come out. Don't force it out. And be very careful right in this center section in here. It's going to be very delicate where all four chips meet up. Okay, so that's taking out those four chips. I'll do the same thing on the opposite side and the same thing over in here. With this done, we're ready to move to the outside portion of the plate. You'll see it's got four large chips surrounding a circle, just like it's found on the inside of this plate. To start with, we'll take these cuts away from the previous chips that we've already removed on the inside of the plate. Now, if these are too large for you to take out in 3 cuts, you can do the same thing we did with those large chips in the center by taking out a smaller chip in the middle of the large one. Continue your cut all the way down so you get a nice, straight, continuous cut. Pick up where you left off. Now for this curve, it's rather tight, so I'm going to switch to my modified knife. And I'll start here. I'll cut all the way around the curve to this opposite side right there.